Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Brought to you by Junk Be Gone and the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
I need a copy of that, all right?
Got it too.
This decade is going to be the decade of the Vols. You got it?
The Vols are back. And before long, we'll be taking a bite out of everybody we play's ass. Thank you very much.
Less than a year ago, folks, decade of the Vols are back, and here, like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives at Tennessee. We'll be breaking down the AD switch, the coaching search, NCAA issues, much more, all of it. We even got a segment of basketball coming up in today's show over the next 90 minutes. Sit back as we break down everything there is to break down of this breakdown. First segment of our program is brought to you by our friends at Junk Be Gone. When it comes to your business, there's a local family-owned company to help with your security and efficiency. Let Junk Be Gone handle document shredding for you. Let them remove old equipment, old furniture. They do it all. Junk Be Gone, junkbegone.biz to learn more. All right, let's meet the group of panelists we're going to be talking football with today. We have VFL and former NFL player Will Overstreet with us. Will, thanks for joining us.
Yep, glad to be here.
Right down there from WNML AM and FM, we have Jimmy Himes. Jimmy, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And from The Athletic down there, David Ubben. David, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it.
All right, so I'm just going to assume that everyone knows what went on this week at Tennessee. They fired Jeremy Pruitt with cause. 9 others were let go as well. Philip Fulmer has walked away as AD, and he's already been replaced by former Central Florida Athletic Director Danny White. We'll cover the search and the NCAA issues a little later, but let's start with the hire of White. Young, good reputation in the industry, energetic, supposed to be a great promoter. His whole family is in the business, so he should have a good network of people to talk to on coaching searches and the like. Your thoughts on the speed with which they got him and the guy that they got?
I thought the speed was amazing to me, just because when you heard that Phil Fulmer was going to stay on until there was a hire, it kind of sounded like, hey, this is going to be a while. It's going to be a process. So that the speed with which it happened in the same week as that statement was a surprise. I didn't think they were going to be able to do that fast. But it showed me, too, that they'd had a list. They knew who they were going to target. And they probably had some conversations even before this all had happened to have feelers out there to say, are you interested in this? Is this something you would do? And, you know, they've obviously had a guy that was their top person. They selected him, and they were able to get a deal done. So I thought it was surprising. I thought this would take a lot longer. I thought you'd be looking into February, March before you found an AD.
I'm with Will. It happened faster than I thought. I'm not sure if I thought it'd be into February, March, but it certainly happened a lot faster than I thought. Talking to a lot of people about him, he gets a thumbs up from everybody I have visited with. He has done a very good job with hiring coaches, football and basketball. He's done a really good job with marketing, and he's done a good job with raising money. And those are 3 criteria you want in an athletic director. He's young, he's energetic, and I think it's a really good hire. I was surprised that it happened that fast, but I think they targeted somebody very good, and I think they did a really good job in landing Danny White.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the last athletic director hire, bringing in Philip Fulmer. I mean, you're in a sort of a state of disarray. You need somebody to calm things down, somebody that people sort of trust, but is not someone that really is an athletic director, you know, by sort of like blood and training and understanding and all these things. But like Danny White is, I mean, it's sort of like if you cooked up an athletic director in a lab, it would probably be pretty much what Danny White is. And, you know, Phil Fulmer is a football coach who, you know, a lot of people like, and he can get some things done, but does not really have a lot of the ins and outs. And so now you're not having sort of somebody there that you're sort of there to calm the waters and cool things down, and doesn't have sort of a long-term plan for the future. And now, you know, whether it works or not, at least you're sort of back in that boat where, okay, Tennessee's got a lot of things to fix, and you've got somebody who seems motivated to get in there and do that, and has shown in the past that they, you know, like Donnie Plowman talked about, has built things at Buffalo, at UCF, and turned them into big things. So it's a move that's huge for Tennessee, and now you just got to let the guy work.
I liked it because I think that Donnie Plowman, and it looked like she took the lead on this thing. I like the fact that it didn't seem like a Tennessee move. It was quiet. It was fast. There was no hint of, well, does he have Tennessee ties? None of that. It was, hey, who's the best guy for the job? Get him. I like that. That's great.
Yep.
And if they can start running, I mean, it's bad for people in this industry who are always trying to figure out what's coming next and break the news. Jimmy, I know you want to know everything that's going on. But I was impressed that they kept a lid on this one for the most part. And it seems that Danny White's doing the same thing on the coaching search, keeping a pretty tight lid on it so far. I think that's good. I think it's a good sign for Tennessee. What isn't a good sign? Well, first of all, let me get your thoughts on Plowman and the way that they handled the presser the other day. Jimmy, there was something that stood out to you that you thought might have been a iffy moment.
I thought that she handled everything really well with one exception. I thought when she said of the violations and what they have uncovered so far, that it was stunning, that it was shocking, that it was serious. Okay, when you do that, in my opinion, if I'm a coach at SMU or Iowa State or Clemson or somewhere else, I'm thinking, wait a minute, do I want to get in the middle of that? So what I think it did, it probably hurt your coaching pool a little bit, and it also may end up costing you more money. You may have to overpay for somebody. I don't know if I'd have gone quite that far in talking about the nature of those violations.
Yeah, and I think the obvious goal is they come out and they try and make it as clear as a bell that Pruitt had cheated and we're firing him with cause and it's legitimate. We're not just firing him and using this, it's legitimate. So this will hold up in court is the idea, make it very forceful. The letter they sent him was brutal. But the downside of that is by underlining all the stuff he did, you tell all those other candidates what he did and what it could be facing.
Well, I suppose the flip side of that is if you're sort of quiet about what happens and a coach gets here and then finds out later, it's even worse. I mean, we've seen that. Like Dana Altman took the job at Arkansas, the basketball coach. He takes the job and he learns after he's done an intro presser, all that stuff. Y'all didn't really inform me, and then he's gone, and that's a Tennessee episode,
right?
The way it happened. I mean, the quietness is not. It's not sort of about shutting people up. It's that they it was a tight ship. 3 people sort of running this with a search firm, and not 8 boosters getting 15 updates every other hour that are sort of spreading that stuff around. And so it's not about sort of keeping things quiet as much as trimming the circle and having a more sort of coherent search with an appropriate amount of hands in the kitchen.
Yeah, but I think by default what that does is it keeps it quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Mm-hmm. If you've got booster, Cole Kubelik, I believe, I think it was Cole Kubelik that said this, there are a lot of boosters out there who would rather walk the sidelines of a 6-6 program than sit in the cheap seats with the common fan of a 12-0 program.
100% true.
Yeah, so I think that if I were a booster giving that kind of money, and I could say, I'm not going to bother you, I'm not going to leave you alone, here's the money, here's the key to the office, call me if you need anything, I'm just going to watch. That's great. I hope that that's what happens moving forward. I don't know if that's always been the case here. I hope that's the case moving forward. Let's talk about handing over keys, handing over money. Tennessee does a lot of that. Let's show you. Danny White's contract is on the left. 5 years, $1.8 million per year. It's an increase over what Philip Fulmer was making. He'll get a 5% bump every year. Bonus is worth up to $300,000 a year. Over on the right, though, this doesn't count everybody. The buyout for Butch Jones was $8.5 million. You gave $2.5 to John Curry. You bought out Beverly Davenport over all that stuff, $1.3 million. You still may have to pay Pruitt. You're going to have to pay Brumbaugh and some other staff that you probably won't be back. So somebody's getting some money there. That's not included. You're giving $1.3 million to Fulmer, which we'll talk about later. You had to pay UCF at least $2 million to get him to get Danny White out of the contract down there. $15.6 million since 2017. Will Overstreet, you've been in the entrepreneurial world. Is that the way you run a business?
No, it's not a very good, successful way to run a business. I mean, college football sports is the only place you can get paid a lot of money to be unsuccessful and go away. There's no other place in the world that you can find a job like this and be able to pay, millions and millions of dollars to fail. It's amazing when you continue to look at how this has been organized. Not just at UT. I mean, let's take
that's kind of the way it
if
works.
anybody has a bad couple of years, they're going to look like that, right? I mean, they're going to have a schedule. They're paying out a bunch of people to lose and be unsuccessful. It's hard to imagine, but yeah, that's not a way to run anything good. A lot of going out.
Jimmy, quickly, booster reaction hasn't been 100% behind that.
No, I've had a couple of boosters that are very significant that told me that they're just tired of the buyouts and they're not going to donate anymore. Now, is that going to be? Are they going to actually stand up to that? I don't know, but a couple of them just said, "I'm done. I'm not going to donate anymore. I'm tired of seeing my money go to buyouts."
And since 2005, only 4 programs have paid out more money in buyouts than Tennessee.
That many?
Rarefied air.
What?
I'm amazed there's anybody that's outpaid them. Auburn's got to be up there. We're handing out guaranteed
Auburn,
$20
Kansas
million.
is up there.
Yeah. Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about the decision to fire Jeremy Pruitt with cause. There are some risks involved in that. And, well, we got much more to come. Come on back on the Sports Source.